This was Tanner's idea.
This was and I will gladly take full responsibility of this. And I actually had suggested The Walking Dead, and then my second suggestion went to SpongeBob. So I don't know.
Yeah, apologies for never watching. Like, I know it's a great show. I haven't seen it.
Well,
I can't see every show.
Okay, so yes. First off, yes, it's tough because there's so many great shows out right now. We're in the best time for television series in the history of mankind. The Walking Dead, I've watched the first 5 seasons and I haven't caught up since. So I mean, I can't even tell you about the new characters. SpongeBob, I think we've all seen it. Right, we're all familiar with the characters. We all know. So I just thought it was a universal show that everybody had seen and is familiar with. That's why it went down that way. And we're always doing Breaking Bad and Sopranos and all these serious dramas. Let's get something fun going on here.
Emery, did you watch SpongeBob as a kid?
Heck yes.
That's what I'm talking
still
about.
watches SpongeBob.
Chocolate! It's my favorite episode. Favorite episode of all time. That or the Bubble Bowl. The Bubble Bowl is a classic. So, where do you want to go? You want to take the lead on this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
For SpongeBob SquarePants, I believe it was Russell Wilson.
He's such a dork.
Because Russell Wilson, he needs to embrace this because it's been talked about in our studio quite a bit. Like, Russell Wilson is proof that the quarterback is not always the coolest guy on the team. Not every quarterback can be Joe Burrow.
Right.
But if he just embraced that fact, he could become as endearing and likable as SpongeBob or Robert Griffin. He was always kind of an oddball.
He's a dork.
But he embraced it.
Right.
And people really like him now.
Look at a guy like Kirk Cousins. Guy who openly goes to the beach, puts sunscreen lotion on his nose like a dork, and all of a sudden he's wearing 20 chains on the plane because it's just so ironic that he's so nerdy and dad-like that it's funny to see him iced out like that.
Yeah, and I mean SpongeBob, he cooks those burgers, and we used to say let Russ cook.
Let's let Russ cook. You're exactly right. All right, my SpongeBob is Jamal Williams, probably one of the most likable guys in the NFL right now, and he's just always happy. He's always smiling. No matter what the scenario is, they didn't even make the playoffs, and he was crying after the game because he was so happy that they beat the Green Bay Packers, and he had such a great season. And he did it for his granddad, and then his introduction on Sunday Night Football was incredible. The Naruto reference that he made. He's just one of the most likable characters in the NFL. SpongeBob is a classic cartoon character, will go down in history as one of the greats. Jamal Williams may not go down as one of the greats, but he will go down as one of the greatest personalities to ever play in the NFL.
Holds the Lions' record for single season record for touchdowns, by the way. He passed Barry Sanders with that.
I mean, look at that. If you can break Barry Sanders' record, that's pretty good.
I mean, you don't need a personality or looks. If you can go out to the bars with that on your resume, I mean, you're gonna find a woman who is interested in you. I'm just saying that.
But I've never seen Jamal Williams down ever. He's always happy. He's always the life of the party, and I think SpongeBob embraces that role as well.
Yeah, I like the pick. Who's your Patrick?
My Patrick is actually, who is my Patrick? Throw that up. Oh, Quinnen Williams. Okay, so Quinnen Williams I felt like was a great pick because he is kind of a goofball. I don't know if he's dumb. I'm not going to say he's dumb. I just know him based on his Alabama interviews where he was under the Nick Saban tutelage and he was not allowed to say anything at Alabama to the media, and they would interview him before national championship games, and he's about to say something and he would stop himself. He's like, well, I think that team is trash. Well, I think that they're respectable. And he just had great interviews, and he's always, he look at him. Look at the picture that he has up there. He's just smiling. He's happy-go-lucky. He just kind of seems that he's happy to be where he is. And even if that's at the New York Jets where they're never going to win anything, he's just happy to be here.
Yeah. You got to go with the big fella, which is why I went with Buffalo Bills offensive lineman Tommy Doyle.
Okay.
I believe the only offensive lineman who has a touchdown reception this year.
Okay.
And he did it last week. And I mean, I like it when the big fellas score. You know, it makes everyone happy just the same way a big fella like Patrick does. And you know what, Vince Wilfork, your time has already passed because that was the name I really wanted to throw down there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go to a fresh new young blood and give a shout out to a big guy who lives in the trenches.
You know, and we try to keep it as current, current NFL players.
Sometimes the fit is too perfect.
Sometimes the fit's too perfect where it's a retired player, a guy who's no longer in the league like an Antonio Brown or something. But for the most part, we try to keep it of guys who are actually currently in the NFL. All right, who do we have next? Mr. Krabs, I believe, is our next pick. And I'm going to go with the obvious choice here. It's Jerry Jones.
That was low-hanging fruit.
It was low-hanging fruit.
If it wasn't you, it was
going to be you. And so, yeah, you could have picked Stephen Jones. I don't know who you picked, but it could have been. Money hungry, money grabbing, the most, just money, power hungry,
money.
boss man in the NFL. That's Jerry Jones, and that's Mr. Krabs. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. Like open and shut case, just about any way you look at it. But I went with Broncos majority owner Rob Walton, the heir to the Walmart fortune.
Well, okay, look at you. You did some digging.
I did a little research because I wanted to know who, not the value of the team. I wanted to know who is the wealthiest NFL owner.
Okay.
This is according to ProFootballNetwork.com. I assume that it's
accurate,
somewhat accurate. But he is worth $59 billion. Billion with a B. The next... There's the owners of the Seattle Seahawks. It's a family trust worth $20 billion, and then David Tepper is worth 15.8. So there's a pretty big drop off there.
Yeah.
And so I mean, the Krusty Krab. It's a at times respectable establishment, just the same way the Denver Broncos are at times a respectable establishment.
At times, yeah. I thought Shad Khan would have been up there higher, the Jacksonville Jaguars owner.
No, that would have been a really good one too.
It would have
honorable mention.
Honorable mention, Shad Khan for Mr. Krabs. All right, we've got Squidward next, I believe.
Squidward tentacles.
Squidward tentacles. Or tennis balls.
Tennis balls.
As one episode would call it.
Tent poles.
Tent poles. I've got James Harrison. Again, a player who's no longer in the NFL, but I could only think of the meanest, grumpiest, crankiest football player I've ever seen. And James Harrison was the epitome of just a mean dude. And so Squidward Tentacles is my pick for James Harrison.
Yeah, he was a curmudgeon to say the least, and I'm sure that there are a handful of his opponents who would.
I just think there's too many nice guys in the NFL. I couldn't find a mean player in today's NFL.
I mean, the days of Bill Romanowski's and James Harrison,
they're done.
They're kind of. I don't want to say they're done. They're on hiatus.
Maybe okay. I'll let you have your pick before I just throw a name out there that I probably could have thought of. But I'm so sick of these players just hugging each other after games and getting autographs after the game, taking pictures and all that. I want a mean guy like James Harrison every now and then.
Yeah, I went a slightly different route. I went with Josh Rosen because there is a physical resemblance for one thing.
Okay.
I mean, look at that schnoz.
The schnoz, yeah.
But he hasn't really gotten a fair shake in the NFL. I mean, he's had his chances. He had 1 year in Arizona as the starting quarterback.
Don't you think though, if his talent was good enough, the team would have realized that and given him that chance?
He's bounced around since then. He had 1 year there, and it was a really bad Cardinals team.
It was terrible. Yeah.
And then he went to a Dolphins team that was not very good
Just
either.
As bad.
And I believe he bounced around for the 49ers, Falcons, Browns.
I think he was on Tampa Bay's practice squad.
He was on Tampa's practice squad. I think he's currently with the Vikings on their squad.
Ooh, he's going to play for every team in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, but he's like, he's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick or Josh McCown, but without the actual skins on the wall.
Yeah, without actually playing. Yeah.
But he's just, he's had to move a lot. Not that Squidward's had to move, but like,
he'd have liked to.
He's probably a little bit just curmudgeon-y about everything.
He probably is a little grumpy about it. Yeah,
in his circumstances.
I would agree.
Because he got 1 year as a rookie, and then the new regime comes in. They say we don't want you, and he's pretty much kicked to the curb and never to really reemerge.
All right, we've got Plankton, and this is a physical resemblance thing for me as well.
I get it.
Kyler Murray. Plankton's a little tiny little nuance, and he's kind of a villain in the SpongeBob world, as much of a villain you can have in the Nickelodeon universe. I don't think there's a lot of people that like Kyler Murray. I think he kind of has that villainous persona in terms of he's kind of snobby.
Patrick Peterson would say that.
Yeah, he's kind of snobby. He's kind of out for himself. Plankton's that guy, and then Plankton's also a couple inches tall. Kyler Murray not too much taller. So I would go with Kyler Murray. I think that's as self-explanatory as I can get.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a good Plankton. I didn't want to go with another NFL owner, but I went with his teammate, DeAndre Hopkins.
Wow.
Because
I
mean, his headshot from this year's ESPN catalog, it doesn't really highlight what his hair looks like when he's wearing his helmet, because seemingly he's got like a zero skin fade, or maybe it's just clean shaven, and his dreads like come off the top of his head. It's a very unique look.
Yeah.
And I looked at Plankton's antennas, and it kind of reminded me of that.
Have some dreadlocks. I got you.
And also Plankton, I think he's spent some time in jail. And DeAndre Hopkins, he not jail, but he he had to serve some time for doing steroids, and so
Yeah.
that was
He was in
connection.
NFL jail.
He was in NFL Roger Goodell jail.
Yeah.